Hello, my dear friends and loyal followers of Turkish series stars. It feels so good to have you back, to share a little sparkle and a lot of heart. I hope your day is glowing, because tonight we are diving into a story that has the whole fandom leaning closer, listening for every breath between the words. We are talking about Yaman, the line that sent timelines spinning, and the woman at the center of that warm, golden sentence, Demet Özdemir. If you've been scrolling lately, you already know the phrase that lifted every eyebrow and softened every smile. It tumbled out like a confession and landed like a promise: she is the light of my life. Let that sink in. Not just an offhand compliment, not a cliché tossed to the crowd. Light. Life. The way those syllables wrapped themselves around Demet's name had people replaying the clip, reading between the pauses, feeling that familiar tug of something both intimate and universal. And because you are here with Turkish series stars, we are going to sit with those words, feel their warmth, and trace the path that brought them to the surface. This is for everyone who has followed their story since the first glance, the first laugh, the first electric breath shared on set. You remember where it began. On the set of Erkenci Kuş, where a script about love met two actors who carried it like a living pulse. Ken walked in with that storm in his veins, charisma, all edges and electricity, and Demet answered with a glow you could almost touch, quicksilver bright and impossibly grounded. Cameras rolled, lines were delivered, but what the world felt was the space in between, the stolen glances that didn't feel stolen, the gestures that seemed too effortless to be choreography, the laughter that didn't stop when the director called cut. On-screen chemistry became the headline. Off-screen questions became the chorus. And yet, neither of them ever needed the noise to validate their bond. You could see it in the way Ken would soften when Demet spoke, that microsecond where the tough veneer gave way to attention, to tenderness. You could see it in Demet's ease, the way she held her own shine yet made room for his, unafraid of balance, disinterested in competition. It wasn't just romance the audience was hungry for. It was partnership. It was two stars choosing to orbit without dimming. Now come back to that sentence. She is the light of my life. Why did it resound the way it did? Because Ken is not reckless with words. He is passionate, yes, firebrand passionate, but not frivolous. The man knows the weight his voice carries. He knows a quote like that doesn't just echo, it ricochets. He has guarded parts of his life with the ferocity of someone who's learned, the hard way, that the world can take and take and take. So when he selects a metaphor as old as time and wears it like a brand new suit tailored just for Demet, we listen. Light is clarity. Light is warmth. Light is direction. In one breath, he told us that Demet doesn't simply decorate his moments, she guides them. It's about the morning texts that make a tough day feel manageable, the laugh that slices through tension like sunrise through fog, the trust that says walk, I'm right here, keep going. For two artists who have both weathered storms. The whirlwind of success, the scrutiny that never sleeps, the relentless tug-of-war between personal life and public appetite, Light becomes more than romance. It becomes survival. And Demet, oh Demet. If you've watched her long enough, you know that her light isn't naive. It's not the kind that flickers for applause. It's the kind built from discipline and kindness, the kind that chooses joy without denying the shadows. She's weatherproof. That's what makes the sentence land. Ken isn't just describing a muse. He's recognizing an anchor, the steady hand on the small of the back when the crowd surges, the steady voice that says remember who you are. Think of the moments we've glimpsed without really seeing. The shared smiles on carpets when the cameras flashed too bright. The easy detours into private jokes during interviews when the questions get invasive. The quietness in the way they listen to each other, even in a room full of microphones. You can stage chemistry. You cannot stage stillness. Their stillness has always told on them. And that's why this quote shook the room. It wasn't a gimmick, wasn't a line tossed like confetti. It sounded like a truth that had lived a long time in a guarded place and finally found daylight. People ask, Did he mean it literally? Was it a shield, a strategy, a poetic dodge to keep the rest of the details back? But you know better. You know Hakan speaks when something matters. He doesn't perform sincerity. He leans into it, unapologetically. The man is not afraid of intensity. He is afraid of waste, of wasting time, wasting chances, wasting feelings. If he calls Demet light, it's because he has walked through nights that proved it. Social media did what it always does when a single sentence spills into a million hearts. Edits bloomed in minutes. Clips from Erkenci Kuss were threaded with sparkles in slow motion, underscored by ballads that felt like confessions. Fans posted their own translations, their own testimonies. People who had sworn to stay neutral, to keep their shipping discreet, suddenly found themselves writing paragraphs about soulmates and second chances and the way a person's eyes betray everything, or, in this case, certify it. The quote wasn't just trending. It was radiating. And yet, as the wave swelled, so did the questions. This is showbiz, after all. Was the line part of a press rhythm? A calculated heartbeat to match a brand new project? The timing, the cynics argued, was too neat. But and listen closely here, the neatness was never the point. If you've watched Can navigate the madness, you've seen him push back when he needs to, step forward when it counts, speak bluntly when the air gets too thick with rumors. Nothing about him suggests he would borrow a metaphor this intimate for publicity. He'd rather let the silence hold than sell a feeling he doesn't own. What makes this even sweeter is the way it frames Demet in the public eye. She has always been admired for her talent, her grace, that laugh that sounds like a gateway to summer. But hearing her named as light by the man who knows what it means to be followed, dissected, adored, and criticized, well, that shifts the ground. It turns admiration into understanding. It invites the world to see her not just as a star, but as a presence that changes weather. And if you've paid attention to Demet over the years, you've seen that she does just that. She is pragmatic and playful all at once, a rare blend that says we can do the work and still have joy left over. She's the one who will keep the set humming and still notice the assistant who skipped lunch. She's the kind of partner who can cheer loud when you win and sit steady when you don't. That's what light does, it celebrates, it steadies, it stays. There's also the matter of history, the way beginnings echo. When they first met on Erkenci Kuss, no one could have predicted how loud the world would get, how fast. The whirlwind came with expectations and fantasies, some of them fair and many of them not. It takes guts to keep your center in that kind of storm. It takes even more to let someone else in. If Can is admitting that Demet helped him navigate, that she was lighthouse and sunrise and bonfire all at once, it's because this isn't a fairy tale. It's two people making choices, again and again, in a world that monetizes distraction. So where does that leave us, the fans who watched the first sparks and kept a candle lit ever since? It leaves us right here, hands clasped around the glow of a sentence and the story it hints at. It leaves us patient, curious, grateful. It leaves us trusting what we've always sensed, that beyond the dramatics and the deadlines, beyond the flights and fittings and fevered headlines, there is a real bond. You can hear it in how he says her name. You can see it in how she looks back, unflinching. And can we talk about the courage baked into that one line? It takes nerve to claim your joy out loud when the world is waiting to debate it. But that's exactly what he did. He didn't place the feeling in the future, didn't bury it in metaphor so deep that only poets could find it. He brought it to the surface and left it there, open to interpretation and inevitable misinterpretation. That, my friends, is confidence, the kind that doesn't need consensus. If you view the sentence as a compass, it points to how they move together. The late-night rehearsals that turn silly at 2 a.m. The days when work burns every ounce of patience and a single text floods the energy back. The tiny rituals no one else sees, coffee just the way he likes it, music she hums under her breath before a scene, that private rhythm that says I know you, I've got you, let's go. Those are the invisible threads that make a life feel guided. Those are the beams that build a home. Artists often speak in layers, and Can is no exception. He has always been generous with intensity, meticulous with intent. He works like a man who refuses to let life slip by unexamined. So when he reaches for light as the metaphor for Demet, it's not because he lacks vocabulary. It's because the simplest truth is sometimes the bravest. She brightens. She reveals. She keeps him warm. She helps him see. Of course, the spotlight has a habit of inviting shadows. Speculation will rise, it always does. People will draw timelines, invent subtext, pit projects against feelings as if one must cancel the other. But the quiet fact remains, the sentence did not need choreography to land. It arrived wearing honesty, and that's why we're still talking about it. Honesty is unforgettable, especially in an industry that treats privacy like a negotiation. What does it mean for Demet to carry that word, light, into her own narrative? It means she isn't just a muse, she is a force. It means that when she steps onto a set, she's not merely marking lines, she's setting tone. It means she can shift the temperature of a room with presence alone, not because someone wrote it into a scene, but because she has earned that kind of gravity the long way, through work, through kindness, through consistency. And for the fans who have lived through every rumor cycle, every whisper and denial and maybe and almost, this feels like the chapter you dog-ear. You know the one? The page you return to when the plot gets messy, the sentence you memorize because it steadies your faith in a story you care about. You can debate dates and decode glances, but there's no debating the power of a man saying, without flinch or flourish, that the woman beside him is the light that keeps his world navigable. So yes, maybe the timing was dramatic. Maybe the universe loves a crescendo. But listen to the undertone beneath the headline. This is not about fireworks. This is about the kind of glow that lasts after the last spark fizzles. It's about endurance. It's about choosing gentleness in a loud world. It's about a partnership that has learned how to be both shield and mirror, protective when it has to be, reflective when it counts. And we, the community that grew with them, we get to celebrate that. We get to send our good wishes into the night and believe that they land. We get to honor the way a simple sentence can recalibrate an entire conversation. Not because we crave gossip for gossip's sake, but because we know what it means to find light when everything feels dim. We know how rare it is to meet someone who doesn't just love you loudly, but loves you well. So here we are, smiling into our screens, replaying the line, thinking of that first day on Orkensi Kuss, the easy laughter, the way the air around them changed. We think of airport corridors and midnight calls, scripts scattered on floors and coffees gone cold, red carpets and quiet rides home. We think of all the moments we never saw, and somehow, we feel like we did. Because light, when it's real, travels. It finds us. It makes us witnesses. To everyone tuned in to Turkish series stars, hold this with me for a second longer. Let it glow on your face. Hear it the way he meant it, not as an announcement but as a truth he couldn't keep to himself any longer. She is the light of my life. Not the noise, not the flash, not the temporary blaze. The light. The steady, guiding, forgiving light. If you've been with us since the beginning, you know we've always said that this story is bigger than the spark, it's about what happens after. And after a line like that, what happens is simple, you keep walking, but now you can see more. The edges soften. The path clarifies. The shadows don't vanish, but they lose their threat. That's what the right person does, not by magic, but by presence. So raise a quiet cheer, wherever you are. Because some sentences deserve a standing ovation, even if it's just you at your kitchen counter, smiling at your phone. Some truths change the temperature of a room. Some names spoken out loud feel like home. Yaman and Demet Özdemir taught us that the right connection doesn't need to be shouted from rooftops to be undeniable. Sometimes it needs only one line and two hearts brave enough to live it in daylight. Before you slip away, remember you are part of this glow too. Your kindness, your patience, your endless edits and gentle debates, this community has always made space for nuance, for warmth, for joy. If tonight's story made your heart a little lighter, if it reminded you of that first spark and why you never stopped believing, then stay close to Turkish series stars. Subscribe, keep the notifications on, and come back for the next heartbeat we catch together. Until then, hold the light, share it when you can, and never doubt what a single, honest sentence can do. We believe in the small moments that carry big truths, in the breath before a brave word, in the way one look can rewrite an entire scene. We believe in the laughter that shows up late and decides to stick around. We believe in second chances that feel like first times, in mornings that arrive just when the night tries to linger. We believe that love is not a rumor to be disproved but a rhythm to be heard, a patience to be practiced, a kindness that insists on returning. Because in the end, that is the gift of this declaration and the reason it set so many hearts aglow. It wasn't strategy. It wasn't spectacle. It was a door quietly opening and a beam of honest light spilling through, reminding us why we watch, why we root, why we keep coming back here, together. And if anyone asks what all the fuss was about, tell them the truth. A man looked at a woman he trusts and found the simplest words for the biggest feeling. And the world, for a moment, felt warmer for hearing it. Thank you for spending this time with Turkish series stars. Take care of yourselves, keep your hearts open, and let that sentence walk with you a little while longer. We'll be here, ready for the next chapter, ready for the next glow, ready to press play the moment their story turns another page.